Quadratic equations are equations that can be put in the form ax squared plus bx plus c equals 0. This thing right here is super famous. It's called the standard form of a quadratic equation. Notice that quadratic equations, one, always have equal signs because it's an equation, and then two, the left-hand side in this case for the standard form is a standard form of a quadratic expression. The right-hand side of this equation, RHS means right-hand side, is 0. Let's take a look at some examples of quadratic equations. Standard example is x squared equals 0. If we were to look at the standard form ax squared plus bx plus c equals 0, we see immediately that a is 1 because there's an unwritten 1. There is no x term, so b must be 0, and there's also no c term, c is 0. That's the easiest form of a quadratic equation we might see, or actually the least painful. Let's take a look at another one. Maybe we have x squared plus 6x plus 8 equals 0. Here, the coefficient in front, the number in front of x squared would be 1. The number in front of the x would be 6. The constant term would be 8. We know this is a quadratic equation because this sucker right here is an equal sign. Every single time we see an equal sign, we know it's an equation, and then the squared right there is a dead giveaway that this thing is quadratic. Take a look at one that's a little bit harder to see. Perhaps we have something like 3x equals -2 minus x squared. It's not immediately clear that this equation can be put into that form. We actually have to do some algebraic work. However, we do see that there is an equal sign. So we know for sure that this whole thing is an equation. We also see that the right-hand side of this equation, if we looked at the expression over here, this is a quadratic expression on the right-hand side. In other words, it involves a square, and we say that quadratic equations are equations that involve quadratic expressions. So we will learn how to put this thing in standard form, but the fact of the matter is the fact that there's a square and an equal sign, we might say to ourselves, you know what? I think this is a quadratic equation.